Marvin.
How was it?
Either I'm getting old or we own a bigger slice of West Virginia than I'd remember.
You're going soft in Washington, sitting on that committee every day, instead of on a horse.
A man has to do what a man has to do.
If that's true, maybe I should move over there with you.
I'm beginning to think the Secret Service has got shares in McDonald's.
Nutritious.
Cheap.
My lunch guests are usually too polite to complain.
Yeah, well, my hosts don't usually feed me in the park. I feel like a pigeon. You got anything else for me before I choke to death?
No, it was just the Peking business. By the way, who do you think killed Franklin Heron?
Well, I don't know who pulled the trigger. But I'll bet you anything it was FBI money that bought the bullet.
The FBI?
Yeah, Heron was chairman of the House Select Committee on Civil Rights. Now, he was always coming down heavy against bugs, taps, illegal examination of bank accounts. And plus, he was a great champion of the minorities. So why the hell should the FBI treat him any differently from the way they handled JFK and Martin Luther King?
You're still on that hobby horse, are you?
Yes, I am.
Look, you've got no evidence the FBI was involved in those.
What the hell do you expect? The so-called investigation was carried out by the FBI and the Justice Department. Oh, look, Neil, the FBI carried out a COINTELPRO campaign against King. They grossly exceeded their authority. They encouraged possible violence against King. Now, buddy, those are all facts.
And on the Dallas assassination?
Yeah, well, the FBI wouldn't even consider the possibility of a conspiracy, which you gotta admit is pretty strange. They failed to pass on information both before and after the event to other agencies, which is even stranger. And now, listen to this. They claim to have misfiled a whole load of information. Can you beat that? Misfiled? Oh, come on. What a ripoff. I mean, how the hell can you possibly misfile and forget about evidence that's vital to a presidential assassination?
Look, Jeff, the CIA was criticized as well.
Oh, come on, Neil. 99% of all criticism directed against us was FBI-inspired, and you know it. The FBI wants to discredit anybody who just might be asking those embarrassing questions that the Justice Department have always sidestepped.
Let's get back to Heron. Both Kennedy and King were killed a long time ago, and Hoover's dead now.
Oh, so you don't think the ghost of J. Edgar Hoover doesn't linger on over in the agency? I'm telling you, Neil, that place is loaded with hotheads. I mean, there's still guys there who actually believe that every black, every newspaper man, every student wants to bring down the government.
It's hard to accept.
Yeah, okay. Well, just consider this. Last year, the House Select Committee on Assassinations met. And they decided that in both the JFK and the Martin Luther King assassinations, there was evidence of a conspiracy. Well, then, of course, they whitewashed it. Yeah, they said it wasn't the Russians or the Cubans or the government agencies or the mafia or the syndicates. Well, who's left? Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck?
And you're saying the same thing applies to Heron?
Heron wanted the White House to sit hard on the FBI. Now, if his report ever got published and implemented...
Well, thank God it couldn't happen here.
Du und ich saßen am lauschten dem Lied, das aus der Ferne
June. June!
Neil, bit of bad news. Girl called Joan Wyatt on the Russian desk been killed in a car accident in Germany.
What was she doing in Germany?
On holiday. She had clearance.
Who's her head of section? Leslie Winfield?
Yes.
Well, tell him to liaise with Bond Station. Make sure we're doing everything to get the body back. Tidy your affairs and things.
Right.
Morning, boss.
Was when I got in.
Sorry, car service.
Well, it makes a change from the dentist.
That's tomorrow. Anything new?
Just something I was thinking about for most of the night. Sit down. Had lunch with Ross yesterday. He still reckons that Kennedy and King were knocked over by the FBI.
Not directly.
No, that they pulled the strings of Oswald and Ray, probably through cutouts.
Well, nothing about American politics surprises me.
Well, that's not the point. At what stage and what evidence do you think an agency acting alone is justified in changing the course of history?
You mean us, do you?
Maybe.
Well, none of our politicians is worth the bother.
Well, are we that different from the Americans?
Well, Kennedy and King were in the days of Hoover, weren't they? He was a nutter.
But according to Ross, the FBI took out Heron as well.
Senator Heron?
Ross thinks there are still nutters in the rank and file of the FBI.
It's possible.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to the House Select Committee now.
In what way?
Well, it's going to be a brave man that takes over the chairmanship from Heron.
Ah, you didn't hear the news this morning. It's fixed.
Who?
The young senator from Maine.
Donald O'Shea.
Evidently he volunteered.
Yes, of course it worries me. But Franklin Heron gave his life for his beliefs, for the chance to curtail the gross infringements of civil liberty that exist in our country today. And now that he has fallen, someone else must pick up the lance and carry the banner. We intend to press ahead with our investigations, to seek wide-sweeping and significant changes, and to attempt to give a new dimension and a true meaning to the word freedom within our society.
In a statement issued in Washington this afternoon, the United States Department of Justice said that there were no firm leads in the inquiry into the assassination of Senator Heron. At the Old Bailey this morning,
O'Shea isn't careful, he could be the next in line.
Well, if he doesn't take a bullet, all this will do him a lot of good politically.
Yeah, well, I like my presidents to be simple, man. Oh, hell, I'm going home.
Okay, see you in the morning.
Yeah. Seeing a young man tonight?
Several, all on TV.
Have fun. So how you getting on with Burnside?
I'm not.
Well, he needs a friend.
But ladies can't run after gentlemen.
Well, they can where I come from. Why don't you cook him dinner?
For Burnside, dinner occurs halfway through the working day.
Yeah. I think they nail them to their desks over there.
Right, Bob, I've got it. Yes, I'll tell him. Thanks.
Tell me what?
That was Bob Clements, Bond number 2.
Yeah?
The Joan Wyatt car accident. The German police have established that she wasn't driving the car.
Was she supposed to be?
Yes, it was a hired car. She was alone in it, behind the wheel. The car hit a tree.
And?
The police found footprints in the snow, and the ignition was switched off, and it should have been on, and the engine stalled. So they did some measuring, and the position of the driving seat was such that Joan couldn't have reached the pedals.
Either of the Sandbaggers still here?
Mike's down in the hatch.
Mike? Come up, will you, please? Bring round her friends on the desks. Find out if she went on holiday with a man.
Why, man?
A man, not a woman with extremely long legs.
Ah, right.
Yes?
Karen Milner's on Grey.
I'm not in.
I've told her you are.
Well, you shouldn't have.
Snarl at me, dear, and I'll go home.
Put her through. Burnside?
Good evening, sir. I'm a stranger in your town, and I'm looking for someone to share a bottle of wine.
What a pity I don't drink. What a greater pity I'm going to be here for most of the night.
I knew that would be the answer, but I thought it worth the price of a phone call, especially as the U.S. government's paying.
Believe me, I wish I wasn't buried under 4 foot of paper.
Sure, I understand. Good night.
Good night. Girl on the Russian desk called Joan Wyatt.
Yes, Diane's been telling me.
Yeah, it was probably nothing sinister, but we'd like you to liaise with Bob Clements, bond number 2.
Identify the man.
As a Russian desk officer, she would see a lot of sensitive material, so we let her know who the friend was.
And why he ran away.
Diane said it was a hired car and the man was driving.
Well, his name should be on the rental agreement.
Odd the police haven't got to him that way. Check it with Clements.
Right, sir.
Where's Willie tonight?
Oh, he's got a date.
His mother's in town, is she? Good morning, sir.
Ah, Neil, thank you for coming. Sit down. The American Secret Service had any dealings with them?
No, sir. They're not really part of the intelligence community.
Come under the U.S. Treasury Department, I believe.
Yes, I mean, the bodyguards primarily to the president, his family, presidential candidates, certain members of Congress.
Urgent request through the embassy in Washington. They want us to provide our special section as backup at Heron's funeral.
Backup? Well, why don't they ask the FBI or even the CIA?
According to this, it's to supplement available Secret Service and other government agency sources.
Can we tell the CIA?
We're asked specifically not to do so.
Well, I'm not sure I like it, sir. I mean, if the CIA found out, our hard intelligence doesn't come from the American Secret Service.
My thought precisely. But the request originated in the White House.
The White House?
And the Foreign Secretary would like us to comply.
In other words, we'll be getting a directive.
Unless you can find more pressing reasons why we should decline the invitation.
I suppose they do know that we've only got 2 Sandbaggers now since the temporary Manning standard.
Yes, and they want both. You have no special operations at the moment?
Not as such, no. I have a problem in Germany, but bond number 2 can handle it.
In that case, you'd better get Kane and Wallace to America.
Yes. I suppose you know what's behind this.
I imagine a renewed reluctance on the part of the Secret Service to trust either the FBI or the CIA.
Yes.
Coupled with some doubt as to who killed Heron.
You've heard the rumors, then?
Neil, when the Warren Commission's report was published, I read all 26 volumes. I made a list of 104 major inconsistencies, 95 of which pointed directly to conspiracy.
The FBI?
Their behavior in certain areas was nothing short of extraordinary.
I'll send the Sandbaggers.
The American Secret Service?
Wellingham's made it clear that we've got very little choice.
But what are our 2 supposed to do?
Crowd mingle, I should think. The close guard staff will go to their own offices.
Is it going to be a big funeral?
Very big. Anyone with political ambition is going to want to be seen there.
It's appalling when the White House can't trust the FBI and the CIA.
Our government doesn't entirely trust us.
It's on a different level. I mean, we've never been accused of shooting at the Prime Minister.
We'll get to him eventually.
I don't find that amusing.
Sorry.
But it doesn't solve anything, though, does it?
At least it points us in a direction.
Yes, but I dropped.
You're on your bike.
Oh, where, sir?
The States?
I wonder if I shouldn't be staying here, sir.
Huh?
I did some checking on Joan Wyatt's men friends.
And?
She does have a mystery boyfriend.
Mystery?
She wouldn't tell anyone who he is, but she hinted, or let slip, that he's a very important man in government.
Well, what sort of government?
Nothing more than that. She was seemingly afraid of the gossip columns, thought that if she and her man were connected, the papers might start probing her job and background.
Cost her a job on security grounds?
Yes.
Was that her ideas or the boyfriend's?
No one knows.
But armed with that,
Yeah?
I got Clements to buy a copy of passenger list from Cologne-Bonn Airport.
Yeah?
BA 745 departed Cologne-Bonn 1735 yesterday evening. First-class passengers included the Right Honourable George Stratford Bacon.
A very important man in government.
And a cabinet minister.
Diane, find out what he was doing in Germany.
I've done that. He was on 2 weeks' holiday, cut short at the 9th day.
And Joan Wyatt?
2 weeks' holiday, cut short by her death at the 9th day.
Was Stratford Bacon on the car rental agreement?
No. He drives a car in London, so he must have a licence. But there was just the girl on the form.
Then he was taking a risk by driving the hired car.
But obviously less of a risk than having his name on the same form as Joan Wyatt's. He's not married, is he?
No. No legal reason why he shouldn't be on holiday with any lady of his choice.
All right, Mike, get hold of Willie. Get yourself down the ops room for briefing. You've got a plane to catch.
Who'll deal with this, sir?
I shall.
Now, the funeral will take place down in Charleston, West Virginia. We've arranged to fly you all down there early tomorrow morning. Mike, we'd like you to be in the crowd directly opposite the church. Now, we'll have the local police help you to get into position. Of course, you'll all both be wearing earpieces to keep you on the briefing net. And, Willie, we'd like you to take close cover on a senator. Travel with him, look after him. Get him to the church on time.
Where will I meet him?
In the hotel down there in Charleston. His name is O'Shea, Senator Donald O'Shea.
O'Shea?
Yes, you've heard of him?
I think I'd rather guard the president.
Well, we know how to handle him. But Senator O'Shea is very anti-Secret Service. That's why we thought if we had a British officer assigned to him, he might be a little less difficult.
He's difficult?
Well, independent.
I see.
Can we be sure there really is a connection with Stratford Baker?
Yes, sir. Clarence has now got charge of the girl's possessions. That was amongst them.
Yes, that's Stratford Baker, all right.
But now I'd like answers to a number of questions. Why was the girl sworn to secrecy about her affair with him? Why was his name not on the car rental agreement? Why did he abandon the car and the girl after the accident, when he believed he'd set it up to look as though she was driving? And why did he leave Germany so suddenly last night?
The answer must be the same in all cases, that he doesn't want anyone to know that he knew the girl.
Yes, but why not? I mean, she's respectable, personable, intelligent, single. He's single, too. They both had clearance to be on holiday in Germany.
Should we tell 5? Get them to inform the police?
I'd rather talk to Wellingham first.
Why Wellingham?
Stratford Baker's a cabinet minister. I wouldn't mind having a hold over one of those.
Don't go in over your head, Neil. I may not be here to protect you.
So?
Cabinet ministers are in a strong position to turn the tables on you.
I mean, why won't you be here, sir?
Oh, no reason. You'll have to see Wellingham in the morning now, won't you?
Yes, sir.
Not a problem, I hope, Neil. I'm anxious to get away tonight.
Well, it's just a quick one, sir. Is C all right?
What do you mean?
Health-wise?
As far as I know, why?
Just wondered.
I would think he's a little tired, like the rest of us. I mean, do you know I'm working a 65-hour week?
Standard hours in the ops department.
Ah, but you're no longer married. By the time I get home at night, I'm too exhausted to do anything.
Your wife will be writing to one of those problem pages.
Mind if I go? I have an appointment.
Laundrette's still open, is it?
I'm dining with an admirer.
Not a cabinet minister, by any chance?
No, a lawyer.
Ring the U.S. Embassy, will you? Find out if Ross is still there. If he is, tell him I'm coming over.
The directive said we weren't to inform the CIA.
Sorry?
About Sandbaggers backing up at the funeral.
Thanks for reminding me.
Best time to hit anyone would be when they were going into the church or coming out. Worried?
What do you think? I just hope that O'Shea is not as awkward as Briscoe says he is, that's all.
That's why it was given to you.
Keep talking. It'll help me sleep tonight.
Well, let's get your mind off it then. Do you fancy going to the pictures?
Oh, yeah. You know what they'll be showing, don't you? Day of the Jackal.
I trust I'm not keeping you from a banquet or anything?
No, you're just keeping me from Jenny's coq au vin. And as it's always more cock than vin, it's okay by me.
I've got something to tell you, strictly off the record.
Oh?
Both Sandbaggers are in America, backing up the Secret Service at Heron's funeral.
Well, that's $5 I owe myself. Although I did say you'd be here by 7.
By which I take it you knew.
Well, of course we knew. The folks back home aren't too happy about it.
Neither am I.
Well, who made the approach?
White House to FCO.
So the company shares in the Bureau's blame, yet again.
My orders were not to tell you.
Yeah, I'll bet. I mean, the FBI throws it at the fan, and it comes back all over us. Now, we're going to get hit by the PFIAB and the OMB. That means more supervision, less budget.
PFIAB?
The President's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board. It's a goddamn watchdog committee.
Jeff, I wonder if I... Oh, hello, Neil.
Come on in, kid. Come on in. Looks like you owe yourself $5, too.
I knew I would. Well, have you heard from Willie?
No, I seldom do. Willie considers it a mission of defeat to call in.
Then you don't know they put him on O'Shea.
What?
That's a pretty tough assignment. O'Shea's as pig-headed as they come.
But I thought my two were supposed to be crowd minglers.
Take it as a compliment. I mean, Al Briscoe, he's the chief of the Secret Service. He wouldn't have done it unless he's heard a lot of good things about Willie.
But next to the President, O'Shea must be the prime target for any maniac in the crowd.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, the cock o' van beckons. Well, I'm glad you came by and told us about it, Neil. Could have been the end of a great partnership if you hadn't.
That's what I thought.
Good night, kid.
Good night, Jeff. I'm sure Willie will be okay.
I'm sure.
Well, I'll show you off the premises.
Thanks.
Are you going back to your office?
Well, not if I could persuade you to join me in a hamburger somewhere.
You don't have to return that invitation.
I'm prompted by one of man's more basic instincts.
Hunger?
I still don't understand. Why don't you pass on your suspicions about the FBI?
To whom? Everybody knows about the rivalry between us. Now, we make accusations, and the Bureau claims it's a smear campaign by the company.
The President?
Well, whose side would he be on? You know, they say Johnson used to amuse his visitors by playing a tape, presumably one made illegally by the FBI, of Martin Luther King in a rather compromising situation.
Yes, I'd heard. But look, it's one thing to conduct a COINTELPRO campaign against a civil rights leader. It's quite another to have him killed.
Well, the company's done much the same thing in its time. The rules are there to be broken.
Yes, but the line's got to be drawn somewhere.
So where would you draw it?
Short of murder.
And if you got permission tonight to send a sandbagger to East Africa and knock over a certain president?
That would be different.
Or would it? It's a judgment on a human life.
Yes, but one made by government, not by an agency.
Then if the agency decides genuinely that someone must go, for the good of the country...
It's a hell of a decision.
All of life's a hell of a decision. Like deciding to turn your back on the past.
Are you offering advice again?
As a friend, Burnside. No more than that.
Then thank you, but just leave it, will you?
Willie and Mike.
Absent friends.
I don't like the sound of all this.
If we could put the screws on Stratford Baker, use him within the cabinet.
I rather think you may have scratched the surface of something ominous. There have been mutterings about Stratford Baker in the past, but the Prime Minister wouldn't entertain them.
What sort of mutterings?
Well, for one thing, that his true political affiliations might bear examination. But he's the personal protégé of the Prime Minister. And in any case, MPs tend to close ranks against attacks on one of their own kind.
Cabinet ministers aren't positively vetted, are they?
No, they get a briefing from MI5 when they take up office, but it doesn't amount to a great deal.
And there's a ban on tapping their phones.
Or opening their mail or checking their bank accounts. A ban imposed by themselves, of course. But I could make gentle inquiries of fives through the Home Office.
I'd be grateful.
And you could get on to your friends in the CIA. They do a pretty good job of keeping tabs on our cabinet, don't they?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and you'd better do that quickly, in case Kane and Wallace appear on American TV this evening.
Right.
Or had you already told Ross?
My instructions were not to tell him.
So they were.
Thank you, sir.
Now, so when we get to the church, the car will draw up with the right side of the car facing the entrance.
I see.
Because you're sitting on the left, people will expect you to get out onto the left, out onto the street side.
Yes.
As soon as the car stops, I'll move across, and I'll go out that side. So that if there is a sniper about, God forbid, he'll put a sighting on the door and try for me before he realizes that he's got the wrong man.
If you really think it's necessary.
Yes, I do. Now, as soon as I go out, I want you to slide across here as quickly as you can, go out of this door and into the church as fast as you can. Don't wait for the driver to open the door for you or anything like that.
I understand.
Right. Right, sir. See you in church.
That's okay.
Those people are here to see me, Mr. Kane, not you, and I'm not in the business of disappointing people.
You could have got yourself killed, sir.
That may happen one day, but I don't think it'll be today.
Come.
Afternoon, sir.
How do you? Sit down. He tells me that you're checking out Stratford Baker.
Yes, sir.
He is the Prime Minister's favourite, you know.
Well, he's not mine.
But what do you hope to gain by it?
I don't know. At best, he's killed his girlfriend in a car crash and walked away from it.
And at worst?
Well, that's what I'm investigating.
If word gets back to number 10...
Not afraid of heavy breathing from Downing Street, sir.
But we have no authority to carry out investigations within the UK.
The incident I'm investigating happened abroad.
And is a police matter, if it ever comes to light.
Joan Wyatt belonged to my directorate.
Now, that's a somewhat puerile sentiment.
I'm like that.
Well, I'm more realistic. So drop the investigation.
Sorry?
If it gets out that we're delving into the private lives of cabinet ministers, all hell will break loose.
There could be a counterintelligence aspect to this, sir.
And if there is, the Prime Minister's not going to rock his own boat by dismissing members of his cabinet.
I'm not prepared to drop it.
You'll do what you're told.
I've got C's permission to carry out the necessary checks. And Wellingham's, as it happens.
C's change, you know.
I asked you yesterday if he was leaving.
No, it's not for me to say. But it is something for you to bear in mind.
I shall, while I'm checking Stratford Baker.
You're riding for a very big fall, Neil.
Occupational hazard, isn't it, sir?
I believe it was Martin Luther King, that other great worker for civil rights, who said, "Some men see things as they are and ask themselves why. I see things as they never have been and ask why not." Franklin Herron was such a man, too. A man who followed in the traditions of President John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and Senator Robert Kennedy. And we must follow now. We must dedicate ourselves to the memory of Franklin Herron and to the future of our country.
I've just had a call from Clemens, sir. Bonn.
Yes?
The German police have identified Stratford Baker, but the inquiry's been dropped.
Someone sitting on them from on high?
Evidently.
Doesn't entirely surprise me.
Nor me. But what it means is that the Prime Minister knows about it and is condoning a cover-up.
Well, it wouldn't do the government any good to have a cabinet minister dragged through the German courts.
That may be, but I still think there's an intelligence angle to this, sir.
Have you spoken to the deputy chief?
Yes, sir.
Sit down, Neil. You two are going to have to learn to get on with each other. And soon.
You're leaving?
It's a possibility. And I should leave happier if I could trust you.
Sir?
I flatter myself that you have some faith in me that despite everything we're reasonably honest with each other.
I think so.
Would you be as honest with Matthew? Or would you revert to your old ways? Run a one-man band from the 5th floor?
Sir, there's no question of the deputy chief becoming C, is there?
I wouldn't answer that even if I could. The Prime Minister makes the appointment on the recommendation of the Foreign Secretary and the JIC.
And that's why the Deputy Chief doesn't want to upset number 10.
No, I don't believe that. But I would advise you to tread warily, Neil. And if you decided to abandon the Stratford Baker business, I might manage a sigh of relief.
Would you mind doing it my way this time, sir?
I appreciate your concern, Mr. Kane, but whoever killed Franklin Heron isn't going to be crazy enough to make another hit here.
I'm not worried about the professional hit, sir. I'm worried by the man who is crazy enough to try it here. A nutter.
A what?
A madman, sir. Assassinations are contagious, so it's a dangerous time because somebody gets the idea from the television news, they want to make a place for themselves in history.
I can't spend the rest of my life hiding behind the Secret Service.
Sir, there are over 200 million people in this country. Now, if 1% is mentally disturbed, that makes 2 million. Now, any one of those 2 million could be out there with a rifle.
So what do you want me to do?
Let me go out first. Stay very close behind me. Use me as a shield between yourself and the crowd. I'll get to the car, I'll move in first. You come in close behind me and sit up close against me.
Mr. Kane, how much do they pay you?
Not enough.
I'll write to your superiors.
On the roof of the grey building immediately to the south of me. Senator O'Shea downed, hit, covered by Red Man 6.
Jesus Christ. He's sorry for Willie.
He'd have done everything that could be done.
You've heard about the gunman?
Only that they caught someone.
It came in just as we were leaving. It was some poor mixed-up guy from Milwaukee. He decided to kill O'Shea to help the civil rights movement.
To help it?
Scrambled brains. The radio or television told him that Heron was dead because of civil rights. Told him that O'Shea was replacing Heron. Seems he concluded that O'Shea must have killed Heron to get the job.
So he put a rifle in a valise, traveled at his whole baggage, and came down from Wisconsin to avenge Heron.
Having bought the gun at a corner store, no doubt.
Talk to the American Rifle Association about that one.
Anything on Stratford Baker?
Well, we ran him through the computer, and the cough back 3 feet of nastiness. Just listen to this. Stratford Baker had a year at the Sorbonne after Cambridge, made close friend of a Russian by the name of Chernenko, known KGB officer. Stratford Baker wrote several papers on the socialist revolution, preached Marxism, helped organize demonstrations against various forms of authority.
When was all this?
It was 1956-57.
Anything since then?
Oh, yeah. In 1958, he went to the States, to UCLA. Got up to all his old tricks, came to the attention of the FBI, and then suddenly, literally overnight, he stopped.
And did what?
Complete volte-face. Came back to Britain, joined the army, went into politics, had a meteoric rise to fame.
And currently?
Well, in view of all this, we thought it worth a physical check, and we discovered that Stratford Baker's out of town today visiting a factory in Liverpool. We knew your Sandbaggers were away, too.
So you took a look at his home?
I did. Oh, come on. I'm covert action staff. I have to keep in practice. It's a penthouse apartment off Hyde Park, and the first thing I found was a sophisticated outfit of photographic equipment, close-up lenses. Beneath the bowl in his kitchen, there's a little cupboard. At the back of it, there's a hidden compartment with microdot equipment.
Custom-built compartment.
Right. It took a lot of finding. His kitchen drawers are lined with newspaper, and in one of them, underneath the newspaper, there was a photocopy of a letter. Personal, from C to Chief of Naval Staff. Numbered C-109/2 of September 4th. About visits of Her Majesty's ships to Russian ports.
Silly little Joan Wire.
Yeah, but supplying papers to a cabinet minister just to help his career?
Oh, she probably hoped to marry the guy.
That's no excuse. Diane, get a copy of this letter, will you? And get me an appointment with Wellingham tonight. Say it's extremely urgent.
Right.
Get an escort after Jeff and Karen, will you?
Okay.
No more than you suspected, is it?
I knew he had something to hide. And there've been long-standing rumors about a KGB agent in the cabinet.
I sent for the pack on that. A Czech intelligence officer called František August gave evidence to the U.S. Senate hearings in April 1976.
Named several British MPs as being KGB recruits.
And the same story from Josef Frolic. Still comes as a nasty surprise, though, doesn't it?
And a kick in the teeth to have one of my desk officers releasing information.
What do you want to do?
Report to Wellingham.
All right. I'll come with you.
I need this, I can tell you. I've just finished an MI5 file, which makes interesting, if depressing, reading.
5 are onto him?
Have been for years. The Director General has made 2 written reports to the Prime Minister. One of them an appeal for a Security Commission inquiry, but to no avail.
But now, with evidence of microdotting equipment.
Evidence gathered by the CIA, operating illegally in London.
And in all probability, if we told the Prime Minister, the evidence would quietly disappear.
No court case from this, I'm afraid.
But Stratford Baker could be removed from the cabinet, at least.
And not without some explanation as to why the protégé had fallen from grace. And any explanation would be seized on by the opposition.
And the government's in a shaky enough position as it is.
But the Prime Minister just can't turn a blind eye to the fact that he's got a KGB officer in the cabinet.
He's been doing just that for years, according to MI5. But there's no real proof that Stratford Baker is KGB. No one's actually seen him handing in letters at KP Gardens.
He has got one of our letters.
If they prosecuted every MP who's sitting on classified papers that don't belong to him, the Commons would be empty. Now face facts, Neil. If the Prime Minister torpedoes Stratford Baker, he goes down too, with his government.
Loses everything he's worked for most of his life.
Just that. Or, until such time as the evidence is overwhelming, he can choose to disbelieve the allegations. Now, what would human nature dictate?
All right. Then can I contact Stratford Baker? Try to frighten him off?
I've gone suddenly deaf. Haven't you, James?
What was that you said, Geoffrey?
I may be in late tomorrow morning, sir. Mr. Stratford Baker?
Yes?
Joan Wyatt. She worked for me.
I think you have the wrong man.
I've got the right man. The one that smashed his girlfriend into a tree and left her dead.
And where did this take place?
In Germany.
Then perhaps you should contact the German police.
Try that again and I'll smash you into a tree.
Perhaps I should contact the English police right now.
And I'll tell them a story about a cabinet minister that works for the KGB.
Now, that is a very dangerous statement to make, one that could get you into a lot of trouble.
I'll put you away for a long time.
On what evidence?
Enough. Like the microdot equipment in the secret cupboard in your kitchen.
People do have the strangest hobbies.
And the letter about naval visits to Russia.
And I'm sent the strangest letters, always anonymously, of course.
Well, the courts may not believe that.
My dear Mr. Smith, of course. If you had the means to take me to court, you wouldn't be here.
I'm here to give you a chance. To resign from politics and get the hell out of Britain.
The Prime Minister might not be too pleased about that.
We intend to inform the Prime Minister.
He knows the intelligence services want to get rid of me purely because I'm so outspoken about them in the House.
We intend to inform the newspapers, too.
The newspapers have had so-called stories about me for 20 years. But the laws of libel are distressing for them. Might I go now, without being smashed into a tree? Nice to chat, huh? Might I go now, without being smashed into a tree? Nice to chat, huh?
Waste of time wiring yourself up.
Exactly.
I think the man could be Prime Minister one day.
There doesn't seem much to stop him.
Not as long as the government's more interested in re-election than national security. I don't want James Greenley burdened with this, Neil.
Then we will be getting a new C.
He has angina.
While Stratford Baker will probably live forever.
I hope he doesn't live to be Prime Minister of this country.
He's healthy enough.
If we were the FBI...
I told Ross it couldn't happen here.
No, of course it couldn't. Pity.
Yes, it is. You both all right, eh?
Yeah, I can't stop laughing.
The reports from Washington are full of praise for you.
They shouldn't be.
He disobeyed you.
I lost him.
The reports said you did well, too.
Yes, well, I don't know if I could have done as Willie did.
He did the job?
He covered O'Shea with his body. He would have taken any second bullet.
If he'd have done anything else, I'd have sacked him.
Yes, sir.
Diane! Dictation.
Ready when you are?
Service letter of appeal. Personal and secret. Subject, the Right Honourable George Stratford Baker. Para 1. I intercepted Stratford Baker at Sir James Park this morning and engaged him in conversation as an enclosed tape.
So what now?
I'm not sure.
Then I'll tell you. Forget it. If you move against Stratford Baker, Neil, I'll break you.
If I move against Stratford Baker, sir, you'll never prove it was me.
I won't need proof. Because number 10 won't need proof. If you go for him and they put 2 and 2 together, the backlash could destroy us. They could cut our budget in half, put foreign office committees onto us, tighten up every procedure in the book. He isn't worth your career.
What career? You're not going to promote me.
I shall promote you. If and when I can trust you.
To toe the party line.
To behave responsibly.
Understood, sir.
Neil, I'm waiting for an assurance.
I'll behave responsibly. Well?
I read the pack on Stratford Baker.
And?
You better let me do it. You're planning it, aren't you?
At the moment, I'm not planning anything.
Come on, I know you.
And I know you and that you hate violence. So why the sudden desire to knock him over?
I've no desire to knock him over, but I think that you have. But whoever does the job must act alone and get crucified afterwards.
Then don't volunteer.
I couldn't protect O'Shea. I might be able to protect you.
Forget O'Shea, Willie. Forget you ever went to America.
The way you've forgotten Berlin and Laura Dickens.
Van Syne? I'm coming out. She wants me.
You really don't give a damn, do you?
Sorry?
Will you stay or go, live or die?
You believe that?
Since Berlin, yes, I do. You need to work off your guilt, too.
You don't know me as well as you think.
I shall be here for a week or two yet. Take them that long to appoint a successor.
I'm very sorry, sir.
Then will you let me retire in peace?
Sir?
Stratford Baker.
I didn't know you'd seen that.
Matthew brought it along because he's worried. Worried that you're going to take the law into your own hands again. You'd never get away with it. It's quite another matter when you were a sandbagger operating abroad.
We can't always choose our battlefield, sir.
This hardly qualifies as all-out war.
It does to me, sir. That's the way the KGB would see it, and we can't afford to view it differently.
It would be a disaster for the service if the two of us had to leave at the same time.
I don't intend to leave, sir.
I want your word, Neil.
I won't assassinate Stratford Baker. Because the system won't let me.
Then thank God for the system.
Can't you provide overwhelming evidence?
How?
Well, you just make sure that Stratford Baker's out of contact at the theater someplace. Then you send a team into, say, 4 cabinet ministers' homes. Plant small bombs.
Bombs?
Just make damn sure that the only bomb that goes off is the one in Stratford Baker's.
And?
Well, then you get one of your Irish boys to contact the police and press. Okay, now, the bomb goes off at Stratford Baker's, right? Police and press rush in and recover not only bits of a bomb, but a large number of secret papers. Maybe a large sum of money as well.
Genuine secret papers?
Yeah, which you, of course, plant when you put the bomb in.
An operation like that could go very wrong. Remember Watergate.
You're in the risk business.
But if he could prove he was framed, and he might, he'd be fireproof forever. Even if MI5 got real evidence in the future.
Yeah, that's true. In which case...
Oh, no. They're threatening to lock me up and throw away the key.
Well, the CIA won't help. At least, not at the present time.
I can understand that.
No, but I'd rather hope to read that he'd fallen out of his penthouse window.
Well, if you give me formal clearance.
Me? I could be in the House of Lords within one day.
Anyway, there's a moral question in it that bothers me.
Oh?
It's not that it couldn't happen here, but I don't think we should let it happen.
Why not?
Well, it must have started like this in America. One operation to knock over one politician, but the door was open and no one's managed to close it since.
Shoot Stratford Baker in the park today. Tomorrow...
Exactly.
Buckingham Palace. So, Stratford Baker.
MI5 will get him in the end. This year, next year.
Or never.
Maybe that's the price we have to pay.
There's a thought to spoil one's lunch. Well, if you do discover a way of doing it...
You want to be the last to hear?
Precisely.
Any luck? Stratford Baker goes to Singapore in February. Trade conference.
Singapore?
And as K. Lim owes us a couple of very big favors, like his job.
Well, I think you better pass through Singapore soon. Have a word with K. Lim.
That's what I thought. He's got some very good people. He'll make it look right.
Oh, no, there's only one thing it can be.
What's that?
A car accident, of course. He got no sense of occasion, will he?